Hello there everyone. So today I'm going to be going through with you the reasons why leveling up your dragons does matter when trying to breed rarer dragons. And so a few people recently have been sending me messages along the lines of, does it matter what level of the dragons I use to breed the dragon of the week and the dragon of the month? And I always say that we know that there's increased chances if you level up your dragons, so yes, you should. Exactly what those levels are, we're not sure of. But some people still say to this day, no, you shouldn't level up your dragons because you don't have increased chances. And the reason why you will always be wrong if you say that is because of the breeding den description right here. Dragons with a higher level and rarity typically produce rarer hatchlings. Breeding lower level dragons typically produces common offspring. Breeding higher level dragons typically produces uncommon and rare offspring. But just in that first section of lines there, it says dragons with a higher level and rarity typically produce rarer hatchlings. So to say that there isn't an increased odds of breeding a rarer dragon by leveling them up is wrong. Just outright, if you are a person with that sort of mindset, I'm sorry, but you are incorrect. It says it in the game right here. And the main reason I'm talking about this today is because I was on one of the Facebook DML groups, and I saw this post here. And this person here asked for the breeding, any required level to get higher chance. And the response was nope, followed by, levels don't affect breeding all that much. The difference or boost is too minimal to consider wasting food on it, in my opinion. Patience is key, and then another no here. And while I don't have anything particularly wrong with the response, my issue with that is that I feel it is a very misleading comment to make. The person that did leave that comment we know is a very high level player, and myself, I'm not extremely high, but I'm a level 105 player. I've been playing this game since it came out. I have a lot of experience with breeding, and all that I'm going to say is if you ever need a reason to level up your breeding dragons when going for the dragon of the month or the dragon of the week, is that I have not failed to breed any dragon of the month in over a year. Every single dragon of the month that's been thrown our way, I have bred consistently, and I have bred consistently quickly. And I use level 15 to 20 dragons minimum when I go for legendary dragons. But I get messages constantly from people saying, hey Quacks, I want to breed the pixel dragon, but no matter what I do, I can't seem to breed him. And then they'll say, I'm using level 10 dragons, or I'm using level 6 dragons, and it just doesn't seem to be working. And then those same people will go the whole month without breeding the dragon of the month. And as a long-time player, back in the first year I played this game, I was exactly the same. I didn't breed a dragon of the month for a very, very long time. I believe my first one was the Comet Dragon, and obviously he was like months and months into the game. And then after him, I started leveling up my dragons, and I started consistently breeding these dragons of the month. And same with the dragons of the week. When I first started, and when I was using very low level dragons, like level 4 dragons, I would never breed the dragons of the week. As soon as I started leveling up my dragons to level 15, I consistently can almost always breed the dragon of the week, unless that dragon of the week is a rare dragon. And this does factor into my point, because the breeding den says that the higher the level your dragon is, the higher your chances of producing rarer hatchlings. But the higher I level my dragons, the easier it is for me to breed epics instead of rares. So, I believe somewhere between, say, the level 8 to level 12 point, that is probably one of the better sort of areas for breeding rare dragons in all likelihood. But when I try and breed rare dragons of the week, I can pretty much guarantee that they are going to take longer than epic dragons of the week, because they just are. So the only difference I'm making is that my dragons are level 15. And why this matters is that I have to say, when a low level player is asking, does the level of my breeding dragons matter? When you tell them no, they're going to assume that using level 4 dragons to breed epics and legendaries is going to give them the same odds as breeding a dragon that is level 15 to 20. And in my personal 2 years of experience, and hearing from some other people and seeing that pretty much most level 100 plus players have every single dragon of the month because their dragons are a higher level, I cannot for a second believe that the chances aren't at least a little bit higher than people think they are. Because yes, like I said, luck and chance in this game is the most important factor when trying to breed legendaries. Don't get me wrong, I do agree with that. But to basically hinder yourself and say, I know I have a higher chance of breeding this legendary if I level my dragons, but I'm not going to do it anyway, is a silly statement to make. Especially when low-level players are asking for advice, saying to them, hey, I know you're struggling to breed this dragon of the week, and if you do this, it will increase your odds. But don't do it, just because, you know, the food, you might have to spend like a third of your food. Well, what if that dragon of the week doesn't come back for a year? You've basically stopped them from breeding that dragon of the week for a year, or hindered their chances at breeding that dragon of the week for an entire year. Because you didn't want them to have an increased chance at breeding the dragon just because you don't personally think that it's made any difference, despite the fact that you breed every single dragon of the month and dragon of the week. And I think that that's the main issue. When people refer to, air quotes, low-level dragons versus, air quotes, higher-level dragons, I think the issue is that people don't know the exact numbers on what each level does for the chances. And so they're just tempted to say, no, doesn't make any difference. I don't feel like it makes any difference. But again, I'm someone that consistently breeds every dragon of the week and every dragon of the month without using gems or anything. So there must be something, whether that's player level or the levels of my actual dragons. But as far as I'm aware, no one has told me that player level makes any difference to breeding chances. So the only other factor is the levels of the dragons that I'm using. And like the lowest level dragons that I have, if we scroll all the way to the bottom of my breeding list, look at how many level 15 plus dragons I have. At this point, I find it difficult to find dragons that aren't minimum level 10. So if you're telling a low level player using level 4 dragons that it doesn't matter whether they use him or a level 15, at the end of the day, I don't think you actually know. And here we go, all the level 4s I have or below are all special edition dragons anyway, so I wouldn't be breeding with those. I will always be using my clownfish at level 30 or my orange at level 20. So I don't think I'm the only person that levels up their dragons to that level. And that's the reason why no matter what it is, what breeding guide, what dragon it is, it does matter what level your dragons are. Because your chances will be higher. No matter what percentage higher that is, your chances are higher. And the amount of times I see people saying it doesn't matter is stupidly high. Don't say that. It's just, it does matter. Do not fight with what the game says right here. Breeding basics. Refuting that there is an increased chance is basically saying you don't understand the breeding basics of this video game. So, you know, I guess it's just the frequency at what I've been seeing this comment recently, which is kind of annoying me almost. It's not like it makes me sleepless at night or anything like that, but I find it very, very annoying that people of a very high level with higher level dragons keep telling low level players with consistently low level dragons that it doesn't matter. I'm sorry, but despite what your opinion is, personally, it does make a difference. Even if that's by 1%, 2%. If the increase is 2%, then you are doubling your chances, almost. You are literally doubling your chances of breeding the siren. Even if that increase is 2%, if that increase is 5%, then you have increased your chances by 250% on some dragons. So do not ever tell me that the increase in odds makes no difference when breeding legendaries, epics, rares, uncommons, because you're wrong. So, I think I've mostly said all that I need to say today. Again, I know I'm playing devil's advocate almost, but I'm genuinely sick of seeing people say that to low-level people. If it didn't matter, I would not have consistently bred every legendary dragon. I would not consistently, 99% of the time, get every dragon of the week. And that is why, to this day, I will continue to make breeding guides that will tell people to level up their breeding dragons. Never ever breed dragons that are level 4s to, say, just below level 10 if you don't want common dragons. So if you're actually still here listening to me rant, thank you very much for giving me the time of day. Again, I do want to know your opinions on this as well, because again, I've been playing for 2 years. I've heard a lot of people, low-level players, all the time ask me for advice, and I realise that if people have different opinions on it for whatever reason, I am willing to listen to that as well, but just the statement, don't say that to me. Don't say it makes no difference. It does. But anyway, guys, for now, thank you very much for watching and listening, and until next time, I will see you then.